know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfare.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. I'm Marcus Dash here at legendary Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn, all the way from Mexico, joining us here tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, our guys are back on the field. We actually have real football being, kind of real football being played again, JD. But 7 weeks away from kickoff of the NFL season where the Chiefs will take on the Ravens. But we are back on the field. The quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, is out there. LRZ is out there catching balls from. We are back, baby. And tonight we're going to explore all of that. JD, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. You see, I'm sitting over here relaxing a little bit. You know, I have my little, my whole aesthetics on with my hat. You know, got my little robe on. Had a nice little massage today. So I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Like I said, I'm relaxing. So. What about yourself, brother? How's it going? I'm not trying to rub this in your face or anything, but go ahead. Yeah.
You're over there relaxed before the football season starts. You're getting your nice little relax. I guess your last bye week before the season kicks off officially with when everyone gets the shells on next week. But you're looking good right now, and yes, I am a little jealous. I will say that it's hot. It's 109 in humidity over here, JD. But you're right by the beach, so you're feeling that ocean breeze. I don't have that right now.
Yes, sir. So. Ambassador was talking about how I was sweating like Patrick Ewing out there, on Monday. So I decided to kind of bring it inside a little bit. So I'm up here in the nice suite, just kind of kicking it a little bit, man. But yeah, man, look, the breeze has been great. The weather down here is hot, it's all out hot, but it's beautiful. I mean, the sand is beautiful, the beach is beautiful. Man, the whole property in itself. And I told you, the people down here are beautiful too. I mean, they do a tremendous job just bending over backwards to help you out and, just whatever they need to make your stay a better stay. And so I just want to give a shout out here to the Maroma crew down here who has just been so gracious in helping us out, man, keeping that way. But I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat, man. What's going on, Gary Holland, Primetime JD? Yes, sir. You already know, man. I'm going to come out this way a little bit. Maria, good to see you. Lacey Snake, looking sharp. Appreciate it. Zulu, what's up, man? Look, Zulu, we still here, man. I'm not kidnapped yet, man. I'm still here, so I know Zulu was talking about it last time. What's up, Wendy? How's it going? The dungeon. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So, Charles Driver. Let me see who else. Kathy Wells, appreciate the Kathy. This right here, man. That's my staple when I get down here. This is the perfect thing for the tropical weather. So yeah, everything's been good, man. Everything's been good. So you said the boys are gonna be bringing it back, man. Getting out there, hitting heads. They are in camp. I've seen a couple of some of the interviews today. The one with Xavier Worthy and Kingsley. And I think they had, was it Hicks? Or might have been the other guy that they had out there. They was talking a little bit. So, yeah, good interviews. And it sounded like rookies.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you see that, Xavier's coming back? We'll talk about Xavier Worthy tonight, but Xavier Worthy coming back from the hamstring injury. JD, he's already got his fingers taped up. He jammed his finger during practice today. You know, I mean, it happens. But when I saw him when he was talking, I saw like the two fingers were taped up, his gloves are taped up like this. I'm like, no, come on, got to play right through that, man. You got to play through the jam finger. You can't be taping that up.
Yeah, he'll be all right, man. Can't win for losing. But I tell you what, it was just good to have him out there. And so I know that little jam finger wasn't going to stop him from being out there on the practice field. And so it was good. And that's the meaning of camp. Camp is coming in, you're getting jam fingers. You're going to have some busted up ribs and maybe, wrists, all those different things will be coming out, man. Just the bumps and the bruises. That's just part of what camp is. So, but it's good.
Worthy's
tell
played
him
with
to rub some. No, go ahead.
No, say Worthy's played with a broken hand before during his college days. So I mean, but jam finger's nothing to him. So,
hey man, rub some dirt on it. He'll be all right. He'll be good.
There you go. Yeah. Was that from Roadhouse?
Yeah.
Rub some dirt on it. Pain don't hurt.
Dirt on it. Yeah.
All right, so tonight we're gonna get going with Xavier Worthy. We talked about him right here. We're gonna begin. So training camp is here for our rookies and some of our vets. Leo Chanel and Najee Johnson were there today, along with our quarterbacks. But today also marks the 50-day spot until the week 1 kickoff of the season. But the biggest news was Xavier Worthy is back in action for the first time since rookie minicamp. He's back on the field wearing the helmet, doing all things our wide receivers and return men do. He was out there today. And yesterday, when Mahomes first arrived, he actually had some comments to say about Xavier Worthy being back on the field, as well as Xavier Worthy responding to what Mahomes had to say in his press conference today. So we'll roll the tape right here.
I mean, there's no easing. Like, he's going to have to get out and be ready to go. We got a lot of competition on this offense. Brett Veach and Coach Reid did a great job bringing a lot of competition in. And Xavier, I mean, he got a lot of mental work in these last few weeks that he had during OTAs and minicamp. But it's time to go now. And, I mean, y'all saw it with Rashee last year and some of the throwing up days he had. I mean, we're gonna push you to the limit and prepare yourself to be ready to go for the season. And that's not just him. That's everybody. And everybody has to have that mentality when they come into camp.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's no time to ease in. I mean, it's all go. I mean, once you're here, you're here. So I understand definitely with Pat saying and just to build that connection with him, I mean, it's going to be key here.
So, JD, what do you make of what Patrick Mahomes said? There's no easing into this thing. I mean, he knows the receivers have a hard time with this playbook because, how big it is and vast it is. But Rashee Rice was well adapted to the playbook last year. But how important is it to have our first-round receiver back ready to go at the start of training camp after being out for so long?
Oh, it's significant, because we didn't get to quite see him, obviously, through the OTAs and the mini camps as much as we wanted to. So it's very important, vitally important, that you start getting some type of rapport, start getting some of the timing down. Like Patrick said, look, this is camp. We're rolling, and the thing is, this is not going to slow down for anybody. So, this train is rolling, and you better get on it. You better be ready. And so, Xavier Worthy, I think, he was just saying, like, look, he's happy to be back out there, and he understands it. He understands what it means for being a first-round pick. Him having the fastest 40 time, in the NFL running this year. So he has a lot of expectation. He understands that. But Patrick is like, look, man, this is a championship team. We need to understand. He needs to understand. We got to get rolling. And so I don't think Xavier Worthy is having any type of contention with that at all. I think he's fully on board, like I said before. So this is good. This is a great thing, for them to get some type of timing down right now, this early in camp.
The thing I loved about during his press conference, obviously there's that, not easing in, just kind of diving right into it. But the thing I loved is that he said that he spent the entire time when he was out getting adapted and accustomed to the playbook. And if you're not going to be doing the reps out there, you're doing mental reps, you're trying to get accustomed to the playbook and whatnot. And I think, sometimes when you kind of can step away from the actually act of doing stuff, you can actually kind of read your textbook kind of deal where you read your textbook, you're looking at the plays, you're kind of getting adapted to it. And then you're seeing guys in your position, whether it's you're playing the Z or X role, you're seeing what those guys are doing. You're thinking to yourself, I can do better than that. But I'm also just kind of getting the mental reps of what I'm supposed to do on each play. And that, I mean, obviously, to be able to take a step back and to do that kind of thing, and it seems like, that's what he said he did pretty much the entire time he was out. You think that, I mean, that could definitely help him as far as when the ball gets rolling now, when everyone starts to check in to training camp?
Yeah, and that's all he can do. That's all he can, at that stage when you're not able to actually run the play, you got to take mental reps. And coaches are going to make sure that you're on it. They're going to make sure, like, okay, what are you supposed to do on this play? Okay, what is the adjustment? When you see the corner, let's say bail out, okay, if he's pressed bail on, now what do you do on this? And so just mentally going through it is that's the main thing when we talk about what camp is about when playing football. It's the mentality. It's the mental part of the aspect, the fortitude that you had to have. If you don't have that, man, you're just not going to make it on the team or in the NFL for a long time. So I think Xavier Worthy's a very smart kid. He's a very sharp guy, and we keep hearing that, from every coach. And so, but it's vitally important. It's vitally important when you're sitting on the sidelines to take in everything. You can't get lost when you get hurt. You got to be in the huddle, making the plays. You got to repeat it to yourself also, too, like where you lining up. And so when we talk about the complexity of this offense, that's what it is. Nagging those guys want to make sure, like, you're not getting lost. And so we were talking about this before. If you're not really, adding on to what they're trying to do, right, win a championship, and you're the one that's causing the problems, you're not lining up right. You're not. That is a huge problem. That is a huge problem. I think the Chiefs got it. They understand. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to have a three-peat. And so one guy is not going to stop the show. We can't wait for one guy to catch up. You got to be on it. When you come in, everybody's got to be following on all cylinders. So, that's how I feel. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, we won without him, so I think we'll be all right with as he starts to get the mental reps and kind of get ready into it. And I was reading that he's not full throttle yet, like he's clear to play, but they're still trying to slowly bring him back along. Because I mean, you look at it today, he still had a wrap around his hamstring area, so it's still impacting him. He's obviously playing and back on the field and whatnot, but there's still a wrap there. So that's something that, with the hamstring injuries, as we talked a couple weeks ago with the former athletic trainer, your former athletic trainer with the Chiefs, you kind of have to be patient with that a little bit, where it's like, okay, you don't want to get him back full throttle right away if he's not ready yet. But the fact that he's out there is a step in the right direction. So he's back on the field, even with a wrap around his hamstring.
And it is really just kind of maintenance and managing it, right? And the thing is, you don't want to put him behind the 8 ball early. So, yeah, you work him in, but like you said, the mental reps, he's got to be sharp. He's got to be on top of everything. And I guarantee meetings, when they go through meetings, Nagy's calling him up, okay, Xavier, what do you do on this play, right? If you're sitting here, what is your adjustment? And all the guys got to know that, but especially the first-round pick, right? We know Hollywood's going to have, we know Rashee Rice is going to have those answers. But a guy that is a first-round pick, man, that pressure is on him. And he understands that. He understands it.
Yeah, it was just nice to see him back out there catching with those, the routes on air type stuff, and then also catching, with the jugs machine, getting the punts and the kick returns. So it was nice to see him do all those things. Obviously we can only see what we can see with no hitting and no full throttle yet. But it was just nice to see some of that from our first round pick, which like you said, fastest guy in the NFL, right? Already faster than Tyreek Hill based on 40 time, and so I can't wait to see him when we get some thud going.
Yeah. So I see right here, Lego My Ego says, yep, me too. He says, the last part of it is, I just wonder how the new guys are going to deal with the noise at Arrowhead. I think those guys will be fine. Xavier Worthy played at Texas, man. He's going to be all right. All the young guys, man, they'll be fine. Jared Wiley played at TCU. Kingsley played at BYU. These guys are going to be okay. I don't think the noise is going to affect these guys at all. So they'll be fine with that.
Yeah, especially Texas. Yeah, he's been around some. I'm not saying it's Arrowhead levels, but it's pretty darn close to it. Texas gets rowdy over there down in Austin. So yeah, I think he'll be accustomed to the noise for sure.
Yeah.
So the other day you were talking about a little blast in the past. You were talking about the joint practice that you guys had with the Minnesota Vikings back in the day, and they day one they asked Andy Reid, why don't the Chiefs do joint practices? And he had a pretty good answer, JD, but he also mentioned a little bit what you guys went through with the Vikings, a little bit of those little fights breaking out. He kind of wanted to avoid that, but he had a full explanation as to why the Chiefs are one of the few teams that does not partake in these inter-squad scrimmages and joint practices. So here's Andy on why he doesn't do that.
I think we go fast, we practice hard, we do those things amongst ourselves, and the guys challenge each other, and I don't think there's a better way to do it if your guys are willing to do that. And our guys challenge, they're up for that challenge. Plus, you're not giving things away, so you can't help but do that, and then you're not having those skirmishes that you get in some of these inter-squad deals. And no matter how much you talk, it's still, you put on a different uniform, you're the enemy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's joint practices or not.
So JD, you've been on both. You've been on the side where you've been around the joint practices where they were like skirmishes, as he mentions, is there, and you've also been there when it's not like that, where it's not, not this fighting and brawls breaking out. What do you make of Andy? And obviously, so he developed a formula. We've gone back-to-back Super Bowls here, so it's not like it's hurting us not doing joint practices. What do you make of his rationale behind not doing joint practices?
So I didn't hear any of that video at all.
Oh, you didn't?
Not one word. I didn't. Not one word of it. So I don't know if it did come on, or I didn't hear any of what he said. So,
okay.
So kind of summarize what it was that he said, actually.
I have the quote here. So I think the way we go about it, I think we go fast, we practice hard, we do those things amongst ourselves, and the guys challenge each other. And I don't think there's a better way to do it if your guys are willing to do that. Our guys are up for that challenge. Plus, you're not giving things away, so you can't help but do that. Then you're not having those skirmishes that you get in their inter-squad deals. And no matter how much you talk, you put on a different uniform, you're the enemy. It doesn't matter if it's during joint practices or not. So yeah, my question is, you've seen the good and the bad of joint practices yourself personally.
Yes.
What do you make of the Chiefs, of his reasoning and rationale for not doing joint practices, JD?
No, look, it makes total sense. Total sense. And the reason I say this is because when we were having joint practices, it was actually hard to get work done because there would be some skirmishes. There would guys compete. Now, obviously, it's great because you have somebody in a different uniform and you get to measure how far you are competing against a different team. But sometimes, it could be, counterproductive, right? Especially if guys are fighting over here, and then of course if the team is, decides not to, I don't know, like the Vikings would. Let me give you some of the things they would do. So they would like switch fields on us, like at the last second, right? Like just like silly stuff. Like, oh, we want to work on like short yardage and goal line. No, we want to work on this and third and we're like, dude, did y'all not speak about this before we got here? And it just seemed like they just wanted to kind of take over their own stuff, And I remember when that whole deal happened with them, Dick Vermeil brought us all together. He said, man, I want everybody to get on the bus. This is horrible. The way that we just acted and the way that they acted, we cannot get any type of work done whatsoever. He said, we'll never do this again. And we did. We got on the buses. I don't even know if we took showers or not, man. We got on the bus from Mankato and head right back up to River Falls. So that's about a 2.5 hour drive, or about a 2 hour drive, I think. But yeah, he was not happy at all after that whole practice. And it was because you just couldn't get any type of work done. Guys were just fighting. And then you're talking about guys who try to make the team. If they're, obviously we had Greg Wesley who absolutely ran straight through Randy Moss. They wanted to protect their big stars. Could you imagine somebody at a joint practice laying into a Travis Kelce or a Patrick Mahomes? Can't happen. Not before the season. And so he's like, look, instead of doing that, let's go ahead and take care of the stuff we need to take care of. We don't need another team to do that. We are the standard. We are the barometer here in the NFL. And so I agree with Andy on that. I do. Wholeheartedly. But I tell you what, Marcus, hey, those fights were fun, man. I loved every bit of it. That competition and the fights, man. That's just so.
I'm sure you did. Well, so with that, like, because he mentions I don't want to give anything away, and my retort, I get that, but my retort is when you're playing in preseason, I mean, like those are practice games. You are kind of giving away a little bit what you're doing. What do you make of that aspect of it, JD, where he says he doesn't want to give things away? I mean, because preseason football, you are giving stuff away.
Somewhat, but you could be, pretty vanilla in some of the things that you do, right? Some of the things that teams already know that you do well, you could keep doing them. And so part of it is just still, creating that timing. How do I compete against a different DB, right? If I've seen, Trent McDuffie practice after practice, then I want to go against maybe somebody else, right? Or Surtain or whoever it may be, whoever the opposing team is. I just want to see how they look against that guy. And so I think they kind of should give you some indication where a guy may be in the whole process of getting better. Word. That's my Neff right there. What up, Neff? You see him? I'm sitting over here, baby, doing it up. So I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's you can't really worry about as far as what guys. Like I said, man, we're the standard. We're the standard here. So now Andy's got this whole thing right, man. The whole thing right. I love it because it gives a lot to like the fans just to see their team. Okay. You don't have to worry about like everybody else coming in and other fans, dealing with the whole situation. You don't want to deal with that. That's a whole different issue and a problem in itself too. So,
so after that fight that broke out, was that Dick Vermeil's last? Was that Coach Vermeil's last year?
You know what? I'm not sure. It could have been, or he might have had one more year. I'm not quite sure, man.
Did you guys ever do the inter squad thing with Minnesota ever again, or was that it? Was that the end of it?
Man, I think we might have tried again up at River Falls, maybe for like a day. It was like a day. They came in and out real quick, and that was like so they made sure they controlled it, and it wasn't going to be any type of hitting. It wasn't going to be live. Like when I'm telling you, like the vanilla thing I was talking about before, like we're just running vanilla plays. We just want to see guys get tough and get after it. That's pretty much what it was. But when that whole brawl happened, man, it was a debacle, to the highest level. So Lacey Snake says Travis would have been throwing punches. Yeah, Travis would have thrown punches. A lot of guys would have been throwing punches. And look, I'll tell you what, when camp happens, you want to get a lot of aggression out. I could tell you a lot of different camp stories, okay? Because I remember one of the guys on our teams, John Tate, John Tate and this guy named Eddie, they got into it. Well, he had pulled Tate's helmet off, and he took his helmet and hit Tate in the head, opened him, split it wide open. John Tate was not going to start the very first game of the season. We didn't know if he was going to start, man. But those things that happen like at a camp, it's just, it gets brutal up there. They kind of toned it down a whole lot. Like now we call it Club Med, for those guys. They really are. They're pillow fighting when they need to, but they'll get after it when they pick and choose. But yeah, man, like camp is one of those times, like when I'm telling you, it is getting you prepared for a battle, for a war into the season. This is exactly what camp is all about. Okay, make no mistake about it. So,
yeah, we saw last year Travis Kelce getting a little chippy with some of the guys on the defense and whatnot, and Mahomes as well. Obviously, not the extent as John Tate was, but it was getting chippy to, I guess, 2024 standards, right, JD?
Yeah.
Guys barking at each other, like hitting their shoulder pads.
That's it. Yeah, a little pushing here and there. What are they gonna say to Travis? Oh, I seen you on tour with Taylor, and you come back softer than what you were. I'm sure you're gonna have some silly talk, man. But I'm telling you, like camp is one of those times I'll never forget it, man. I got tons and tons of stories of just camp. The highs and the lows of it, really. So
if you were coaching today, and obviously Andy has his own formula or whatnot, but you played, so like. What would you do joint practice? Do you think there's some benefit out of it, or do you kind of like where Andy's coming from as far as his formula?
If I'm world champs and I know I have the best QB and tight end and the guys out there running backs, Pacheco, the defense, I might not want to chance it. I agree with Andy on this one. And so if you're a team that's trying to, at least, make some type of, push to be better, obviously you just want to see where you are, right? So Carolina would be great to have, a joint practice with somebody. Chicago Bears, because you don't quite know who you have. So Caleb Williams would be a big draw to bring guys in. I would even say Green Bay Packers, another one. I had to say it because my nephew's on here. But yeah, I just think that certain teams may want to do that route because you just want to see gauge how you are against other guys.
Yeah, testing to see where you are on the barometer test, but where we, to your point, where we are, we already kind of know where we are, so there's kind of no point in doing that and risking an injury from a tackle or whatnot from another team.
Right, so, yeah. and so like I said, what happened when it started with us was Billy Baber got hit, and so we ended up losing Billy for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Damn.
Off of a late hit from a safety, and it wasn't like the guy was going to be there at the plate. He just made it like it was a dirty hit, man. And I remember that we went from one field to the other field. Once we kind of communed and got together, we told everybody on defense, like, hey, man, this is what they were doing to us. Like, we got to get these guys back. And that's what it was. It was, I mean, shoot, it almost became a bloodbath. So,
yeah. Stuff like that would never happen. Goodell would step in and suspend both teams for like 3 weeks for that kind of thing now.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
All right, so obviously with Andy speaking yesterday, he talked about, kind of gave us a rundown on the injuries, and I gotta say, JD, I'm still kind of surprised, and as far as some of the injuries here, obviously we know Amena who's going to be out for half the season. Jalen Watson had a labrum surgery after the season was over. But the one I'm still kind of interested in is the Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney was so close to playing in the AFC Championship game, playing in the Super Bowl. It was so close to playing with that pec injury. I mean, maybe I have a different perspective on it, because what you said, how you played with a torn pec, and the fact that it's been 6 months and he's still out right now. So Reid talked about Jalen Watson, Amenahu, Derek Nottie, Joe Thuney starting on the active, physically unable to perform list. All 4 missed time with injuries during the offseason. Thuney still recovering from the pectoral injury. Amenahu on his way back from the ACL. And, yeah, he'll probably be on this. Amenahu will probably start the season out in the PUP. I mean, he'll probably miss at least 6 weeks during the season. Nottie finished the last season on the IR. And then Watson with the torn labrum surgery that he had shortly after the season was over. Players can return as soon as they pass a physical. Of these injuries, JD, which are you most concerned, and which are you most surprised about?
Let me see. The Thuney one is kind of a head scratcher, but I do believe that maybe they just want to be cautious with Thuney, right? Because we don't need him right now. We're not playing tomorrow, next week. And so we talking about September. That's when we need, Joe Thuney. So I have no problem with him sitting out, man. He's earned his stripes. If he want to sit out and take it easy, by all means, he should, right? Until he's good and ready. As long as he's getting like his cardio in, getting his steps down, he's going to be fine. I tell you what, like Amenahu, just looking at some of his tweets, he's saying he's ahead of schedule. So that's kind of surprising. It'd be a great surprise if he comes back before ahead of schedule. As long as he doesn't have any setbacks, right? We're not going to talk about that because we're not going to put that on him. But it'd be great if he came back instead of like maybe week 6, like week 4 or 3 or something, right? I mean, that'd be phenomenal if he was able to do something like that. So that's something we just have to see. Nandi. So what's the deal with Nandi right now? What's he dealing with?
He had torn triceps towards the end of last season. So that was the thing right there. And we talk about our D line with the Amenahu being out, Bugs being cut. We're kind of slim there. I mean, slim and unknown. A little mysteries there on the D line as far as the young Bucks, what they can provide. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I honestly forgot about Nadi having the torn triceps.
I did too. So I wouldn't be shocked if you might see maybe week 2 or something. They might try to address this in camp with a different guy coming in, or when the vets, report. We just have to see. But yeah, if you start thinking about it, like you're not trying to wear Chris Jones down. I know you got other guys kind of in place, but man, you're gonna need a guy I mean, Nandi's, he's your other starter besides Chris. So, shoot, I think that's something that you had to look at for sure.
And Jalen Watson, I know it's a big season for him and Joshua Williams as they compete for the number 2 cornerback spot, coming back from the torn labrum, which labrum's it's a big deal for many positions in the NFL, but cornerbacks as well. No,
yeah, well, them jokers ain't gonna be hitting nobody.
that's true.
So you'll see him over with an arm sling, kind of getting his steps and all that down, but he'll be fine. He'll be fine. DBs, they prima donnas, man. They ain't gonna be hitting nobody too much. So I wouldn't worry about it as for Watson. So
I will say with there we have depth in that department, so I'm not as worried with the Watson injury. The one I will say, not that I'm worried, it's just talking about the unknown aspect. I would say for me it was probably Joe Tooney's spot because next week or whenever the guys are there, and if he is still not there yet, we might see a rookie step in that spot. We might see a Hunter Norzad being the starting left guard, and we're talking about two potential rookies on the left side. JD, that's with Kingsley and then Norzad. If he's not there, that'd be interesting, and that's also not concerned about. But that's also that's interesting. A rookie left side if Tooney's not there. Because the one thing is, if we do have a rookie there, you have Joe Tooney there who can say, hey, be the veteran presence on the side. But if we're going to talk about two rooks on the left side, that's interesting.
Yeah, but we talked about our guy coming in, being drafted. We got a drafted free agent. Both we had on the show. So if they get the reps, that's a good thing for them, right? So anytime you're able to get and come in and go against the ones, we're gonna throw you into the fire. See if you could throw you in the deep end. See if you could swim. So I'm not worried about that at all. Right? We know Tooney's going to be there game one. We know that, and so these guys are just going to get experience, and I think it's good for them to just get that experience while they can. Right? And so if you can get him in on that Norzad, like you said, Norzad, getting some reps there, I love it. When they brought out the interior lineman, in the best interior lineman in NFL, and 3 of the guys on the interior line for the Chiefs was on that list, I was like, oh man, shoot, they're ready to rock and roll. They're ready to rock and roll. So I love it, man. At least you're gonna get stronger with the young guys in there.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of the interior linemen that we have come on the show this offseason, a lot of the rooks, and they all seem like they're primed and ready. I saw McCade out there looking like a beast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. McCade, my boy. Yes.
YB Negative is asking, is labrum hip or shoulder? Labrum is shoulder, YB
Shoulder.
Negative.
Yeah. So I see Wendy talk about Worthy's femur hamstring didn't look great in practice, but he's going to, he's going to make sure it's just probably just kind of, like I said, maintenance on the Wendy. He'll be fine. Like they said, they just want to make sure he's not going to go all out because he's like, look, man, you haven't done anything during this off-season mini camp. Take it a little easy coming in, but make sure you get your steps and everything else down. I mean, he's a fast car. He's a fast car. So we just want to make sure that we keep that fast car being fast. So
take it for an easy stroll, a little weekend stroll right now.
Yeah. John Clifford, my brother, good seeing you, my man. Said Chiefs are good at not pushing injuries back too soon. Yeah, that's important. That's important right now, and especially during camp, because you don't need these guys right now. I think it's all about how you manage different ones. Rookies, you can throw them in the fire and see what they can do, okay? And you can push them. Xavier Worthy first round, yeah, take it a little light, but also too, we're gonna try it. We're gonna test it a little bit on certain plays, and then we had to pull you out. But all the other guys, they should be ready to go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and right now, there's no point in pushing. It's just seeing those names on there because especially the naughty one, I totally forgot about that. So I was like, oh man, that's I forgot they had that. And then you add in the other defensive line injuries we have. It's like, oh man, okay, so all right, kind of gonna take a notice of that a little bit. And then the Tooney injury, that's one that I guess for me, it's just weird because we talk about when you had the torn pec, you played that game, you played the next game, you were golden. So now the fact that it wasn't, because they never said it was a partial tear, right? It was a partial tear.
Yeah. So I tore 50% of my pec, and so I still got that big old dividend here, man. And literally, I mean, they thought they had to have surgery. They was just like, look, you make a decision, Jason. Do you want to have surgery, or do you want to go ahead and put this whole like RoboCop, contraption on and then try to play like that? And I was just like, hey, man, let's go ahead and strap this thing up and go with it. So I just didn't feel like going under the knife. I didn't think it was necessary. I do a good job of kind of healing fast. I call my nephew Wolverine because that's how he heals too. But I don't know, man. I think a lot of it is just kind of, keep people guessing. Really, with Tooney, he's going to be fine, right? He's going to be all right. I have no problems with that whatsoever.
Yeah, because if you and I are thinking like, oh man, our left side could be 2 rookies, and then what our other NFL teams were thinking too. So yeah, it could be a little bit of gamesmanship with the way to unleash Tooney to let him out there.
Absolutely. So Lego My Ego says, if we, the Chiefs, got off to a cold start, at what point, what week would y'all start worrying? That's a good question. With this schedule, I don't think they'll be off to a cold start. If they came in, let's just say they lost the first 5 games of the season, maybe then I'd be like, okay, what's going on? That's the only thing, Lego My Ego, something like that would ever happen to have some type of concern. But other than that, I don't have a concern with these guys at all, right? And we won't even talk about that right now, man. These guys are the champs, baby. They the champs.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially with what we went through last year, if we were never concerned about the way things were last year, I don't think I'm going to be worried at all. Because and that actually is a beautiful thing. That leads into our final topic, because Mahomes talks about having slow starts. So great segue there, Lego My Ego, with that one. So our next topic here. So Mahomes talked about eyeing the three-peat and discussed being locked in this season after a regular season that was pretty forgettable last year as far as going up and down. But ending in the way that he wanted to. He wants to make sure that the Chiefs have fun along the way this season, unlike last year, because they did not have any fun. So I'm going to roll the video here.
The end result was awesome, but I think a lot of us still have a weird feeling in our mouth, because we really didn't play the football the way we wanted to play all year long, and it wasn't fun. Every single week having to try to just continue to get better and better, and results not paying off the way you wanted to. It wasn't a lot of fun. We have a lot of those same guys back, and they know how that felt. And so we're going to try to prepare ourselves better this year so that we can play better throughout the season, and obviously try to end with the same result.
So JD, so with Mahomes talking about last year being kind of this up and down, not fun season, what do you make of Mahomes coming into the training camp with this mindset of using last year as a barometer of to do much better during the regular season and to ultimately have the same result by the end of the season?
Man, I tell you what, I commend him for being honest, very truthful about how he felt about last season. And we could see it. We could see how it wore on him. We could see how in the games Patrick Mahomes was out of character, right? Going after the refs, and like you could see the stress that these guys had to go through. He had to, week in and week out, to reinforce to everybody else that they were okay, that they were going to be all right, even though he knew that the task was hard each and every week. And that's what it was. Guys are dropping balls. For a guy that is positive, who is one that is a motivator, he had a rough season as far as the feeling of it, okay? And so the one guy he knew he could rely on was Travis Kelce. That was his go-to. And then all of a sudden, Rashee Rice steps up. He starts showing what he can do. And obviously, Pacheco was able to pull us through some games, man, through his hard running and just his playmaking was just spectacular. And then, of course, our defense, what they did. They were phenomenal the entire year. And so for Patrick, he was kind of in a new place, because usually it's the offense that's killing everybody. It's the offense that's, carrying the team in the past. And, that's what everybody's coming to see, right? How many yards is Patrick Mahomes going to throw for? How many touchdowns is he going to make? How many touchdowns Travis Kelce is going to have? And so when he had some of the receiving core dropping passes, making some bow-headed mistakes, obviously. Sometimes the offensive line didn't get things right like you would think. But these guys pulled it off. They pulled it off. but it just made it tougher for him, man. You could just say it weighed on his mental. It weighed on his mental. I just commend him for coming in and actually telling the truth. But also, too, what that does, Marcus, is he's trying to cultivate, a winning type of environment. That's what he's trying to do. So he's coming in, I'm sure, into the meeting. He's letting these guys know, like, look, it wasn't fun last year for us. We have a standard about what it is we want to be. I never want to be in that position again. I'm sure he was feeling that way, and I'm sure he told his guys that, like, look, what we did was embarrassing. It was. Some of the play out there was embarrassing on many fronts, and I'm sure he'll say the same thing. Like he said, who said it? Like the Snake, he was frustrated, absolutely frustrated. And so, like even some of the things he did, like I said, being out of character, going after the refs, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. So these guys get it back on track. That's what I love about it, because we know they're good. He knows they're good. But he don't want to make this year like it was last year. He just doesn't want to have to go through the ups and downs and the pains and the embarrassment on some of these plays and stuff. And I think, when you have a leader that is upfront and honest like he was, then you know how to take it. I don't think he was belittling anybody. I don't think he was saying anything in a way that was demeaning in itself. He was just saying we just didn't have any type of fun. It wasn't fun last year, right? And so they were kind of, it was week in, week out. The talking heads always had something to say about Kansas City. Is their wide receiver room going to be any good, or how they're going to look this week? And that man, it is frustrating. So.
Well, I remember there's times we came on the show after games we won games, and it was like we eke it out, and it'd be like, it was ugly, but we pull off a win. So there you go, we'll take the dub. But like it wasn't pretty, it wasn't fun, like Mahomes said. And I think also too, with what Mahomes is saying, like I love it. I'm also like, for these rookies who are coming in, it's like, man, this guy's not satisfied. They just won the Super Bowl. He's not satisfied. Like, man, all right, I'm gonna have like my hands full with the Mahomes, because the standard is so much higher, right? It's like, yeah, we won, but it wasn't pretty and it wasn't fun. This year, I want to get back to having fun and winning games, and also finishing with the same result. So I love that. That's the word he's using, is the not fun, because like football, at the end of the day, it is fun. The Chiefs teams we've seen over the last years, those were fun. Last year was a struggle. It wasn't fun, and the partying and being happy after the fact was fun. But to get there was a tough road, and they want to get back to having fun. And I think with the pieces we brought in this offseason, I think it can get back to that, and that's obviously what they want to do from the get-go, coming out of training camp.
Well, yeah, I mean, once you're the face of the NFL, you don't want to show struggle. You don't want to do that, right? And so, people start doubting it. Like I said, every talking head out here was talking about how bad the Chiefs were going to be. They weren't going to make the playoffs. They weren't going to make the Super Bowl. They're going to be out of it. They start using Vegas. They start talking about Chargers. They start talking about everybody else except the Chiefs. And it was crazy. It was crazy to me, because I just understand the dynamics of when you do have somebody of that caliber at the quarterback, tight end position, and running back, you're going to be able to find a win. Coaches, same thing. You're going to be able to find a win. Like you said, eke some things out. These guys willed themselves to win, and it was enough to get these things going. And so, like Wendy said, she said, "F it, let's do better." No doubt about it. And so, when Andy was talking about these guys are 100 miles an hour, they're going to expect other people to play 100 miles an hour. That's what he's talking about. Okay, they're opening the doors, man. They're going to turn it loose. And so that's what Patrick said. Like, look, we're going to have fun again. We're going to throw the ball deep. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go against every defense out here. Whoever shows up, we're going to hit you over the head with everybody, because we got weapons all around us. And so I can't wait to see it, man. I'm telling you, I cannot wait to see it. It's almost like a reckoning in a sense, right? Because everybody doubted them how they were last year. But Patrick's like, don't leave any doubt this year. Don't do it. You bet against us, then you're going to find yourself on the losing end. And so, yeah, man, I love that attitude. I love it.
And also to talk about kind of start off the season with this attitude he has right now, to kind of like instill this from the day one, even before day one, because it's technically it's training camp has begun for the rookies and quarterbacks, but not for the whole team. But the fact that he wants to instill this from the get-go, it just tells you a lot, Because if you look at we lose the Lions right out the gate last year, but look going into that, Kelsey, we all thought, there's potential that he might have been out for the season, but, it's just a bone bruise in his knee and the hyperextension, which kind of lasted pretty much half the season with him. Kadarius Toney gets hurt the first weekend of training camp, and then that was our wide receiver 1 going into the season. So it was kind of like this kind of weird thing that we hadn't really dealt with in the Mahomes era, where it was like all these injuries and mystery going on going into week 1. But hopefully this year we can be unscathed of those injuries going into week 1 of the season and instill this kind of fun atmosphere and get crap done. And let's do better this year. Now, I think it's a different kind of vibe going into a 3P type season. That's another thing too. Last year they're going for a back-to-back. This year they're going for history that's never been done before. So like it's also the element of that as well on top of let's have fun, but let's compete for this 3P that's never been done before.
Right. Yeah. This right here is a historic run. And so why not have fun while you're doing it? Okay. Because if you put all the pressures you're just thinking about, well, let's do something nobody has ever done, the pressures of that in itself alone may not make it fun. But Patrick's like, no, look, we're going to score a whole lot of points. We're going to be a high-powered offense. I want y'all just thinking about that. Once we think about that, the win's going to take care of itself. The defense is still going to be legit. They're still going to go out here and thrash everybody. Now it's our turn to step back up, how we used to be. And so I think Patrick is make sure he's putting that environment together to let these guys know, like, look, man, if you come in here half-stepping about anything or you don't have a smile on your face while we're doing it, then we're going to have an issue and a problem. So it kind of makes me think, I don't even know why this came in my head, but the time toward the end of the game or the end of the year, when him and Rashee Rice got on it, they got into each other's face on the sideline, right? And so that's what Patrick feels like. Look, I'm not babysitting nobody. This ain't babysitting. I'm not babysitting people. Be with it. Be with it or be behind. You make a choice. You make a choice. So. And
to echo what you're saying, JD, he pretty much said that when he talked about Xavier Worthy. Like, no, there's no easing in. You're going to get right to it. This is serious business, man. We're not going to baby you. Like you said, not going to be your babysitter. You're going to learn this crap. And you're going to get in right away because we have other guys who want to compete right now. Because he also mentioned, how good of a room it is. There's no easing in. It's competition from day one, right out the gate.
Well, we talked about it too, right? We talked about guys having, a lot of years under their belt, and so Hollywood Brown is that guy. Right, he's the one. Nicole Hartman is that guy who are like the vets in that room. So he's not playing around. He's not playing around whatsoever. This is not college. Okay, this is not last year. We're doing something great. Okay, and if you want to be on this team, you want to get this thing done, then you need to be on the same page with me and get with it. So I think Pat, we're going to see the Grim Reaper starting off at camp, getting these guys ready and prepared to let them know we're trying to be the best in the NFL. And we're going to let everybody know and see it each week in and week out, period, point blank. So
100%. Yeah. John Clifford, Pat's got 3 kids of his own to raise. There you go. He's right. No, you can't add a play to that.
No, sir. That's right. No. They are grown men. Hey, and of course, all the things that done happen too, like during this off season, same thing. They ain't dealing with none of that mess. All that's over with. Man. So, yeah, they'll be all right. They'll get it together. But I like that because that's the type of attitude you have to be champions. I think you have to have that, though.
And set the tone from day one. Not we're not even technically in training camp yet, but what we're going to count as training camp since rookies and Mahomes is there. We're going to count it as training camp, but the whole team's not even there yet. Kelsey's still in Ireland right now with Swift, So I mean, he's coming in day one and saying this is what's going to happen. And like we said, JD, the fact that there's drawbacks to having the rookies and quarterbacks reporting before everybody else, but when you have Patrick Mahomes is that guy coming in with everybody else, it's like, hey, like, I'm going to lay the law down. This is how it's going to be. And there you go. You're instilling that psyche in those players right out the gate.
Yeah, this is good for them as far as them setting it up this way. I told you I prefer that all of them come in together. That's just me. That's kind of my old school mentality of just doing it so everybody is on the same page. But I'm not opposed to it because we do have a young receiver core. And so getting Xavier Worthy prepared, I'm sure, some of the other guys let you get in, get your feet wet so you understand what is going on, how it's going to look up here, the pace that we're going at. And then we'll move on from that point. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Donna Cochran says, hopefully we don't need as much blood pressure medicine this season.
Yeah. So you and I are coming on our post-game shows looking at each other in just disbelief. Like, what did we just see?
Yeah. It was a little rough, but we had faith in them. I had faith. I didn't, they did what I expected them to do. Yeah. They did exactly what I expected them to do, and they won it all. So.
Yeah. Although after that Buffalo Bills 4:00 game, we were all kind of in disbelief after what we saw. Not the playoff game, the regular season one.
That's right.
All right. Sam, man, there you go. Nice hat, Jason. Looks like a Southern gent. There you go. Yep, there you go. Bring that Southern gent.
That's right. There's the tip hat. Tip of your hat to you, sir.
Bring that Southern gent style to Mexico. Well, guys, we appreciate everyone coming in on this Wednesday night, ringing in training camp with us, the Chief Concerns family, ringing it in tonight while JD's in Mexico, wrapping up his vacation here. But we appreciate everyone coming in and checking in on the first day of training camp with our show. JD, love you, brother. We appreciate you giving us your time on your vacation, man. And we'll see you Monday when you're back. Will you be back on Monday for vacation?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be back on Monday from the vacation, man. But hey, look, everybody, I'm glad y'all came in the chat. Good seeing you all. I'm the Brown, Charles Driver, Wendy, Louis Kurtberg, Lego My Ego, John Clifford, Stuart Gatsy. Is Jason on the run in Mexico? No. Just vacationing, having a good time, relaxing. Sandman 2, Gary Holland, Kathy Welch, Andrea, appreciate it so much. Let me see, who else? Neff, good seeing you, Neff. All right, Word. I'm trying to think who else we got in here. Lazy Snake, I think we already said that. YB Negative, got you in here. But everybody, love you all. Coming back, I'm gonna bring back some of that sunshine from Mexico. I'm having a nice little gleam on for me. But man, I'm having a ball down here, having a blast. But I can't wait to get up there to training camp to come see these guys come out there, operate, and shine. So, love you guys. Y'all stay safe. Y'all take care. God bless y'all. Marcus, man, my brother, love you. All right, take care, man. I see you, brother.
Bring that ocean breeze back to me in Northern Virginia. We need it. We need it, man. We need it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the good thing down here, there's a lot of people that's from, like the UK, obviously the States. But I'm putting them on to Chiefs football, man. They're talking about it, and they're gonna come out here and watch the season because we just been having a great conversation out about the pool and. At dinner and whatnot. So yeah.
Is LRZ the subject of your dinner conversations with these people from the UK, JD?
No, you know what? To be honest with you, the ones from the UK didn't really know who LRZ is because they watch more soccer. They was like, we're not really rugby people. We're more soccer guys. So I'm like, hey, okay, cool. So.
Yeah, we had a few LRZ fans dogging football, dogging America because we use the word football to talk about the NFL. My response was, okay, we call it the NFL, and it's the highest grossing sport in the entire world. Okay, it may be only played in our country, but it's the highest grossing sport in our world. So, yeah, we're going to continue to call it football.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lacy Snake, night pudding.
But all right, everybody, we love you guys, and we'll see you guys on Monday. JD, enjoy the rest of your vacation, brother. Love you, man.
Love you too, brother. We'll see you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.